and everybody will be happy.
So I will put that on my agenda for this week.
Director's update. Where is it? There it is.
To send out the text of the
I figured out the bad.
changes.
1 second.
Sorry.
Send out the text.
Don't worry about it.
What?
I figured out the bad news.
What was it?
That I had spent $70 on breakfast and I forgot to give him that receipt for that one.
Oh,
So we're like at 3:30 instead of.
okay.
Still pretty good.
That's not bad.
But it's still quite a few games.
So and I'm not kidding. A small backboard with a Nerf basketball to fill that hole. Like they asked me today. They're like, "Can we put a basketball hoop there?" I was like, "Yeah." And they looked at me. They're like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, find it. Send it to Mr. Salim and put it in the game list."
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, awesome. Look at me with my denim jacket trying to be cool. Oh, let me take this off. Okay. Okay. General meeting. Schedule.
I was saying you had a different jacket on, but it's because you just took it off.
Uh-huh.
There we go. Shouldn't have chat open just in case.
What else is this? Jazz dinner dance. Oh, do you have them?
I forgot them, but Anthony went back to get
So tomorrow we're rolling out. It's I asked the kids and they thought it was a good idea. We're flooding the school. The jazz dinner dance posters. And so we're just gonna put up a bunch. We have like 20 of these.
Can we put them with the run too?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to space it out. We're going to be the same thing.
Yeah, we got two. We're about to have a huge loss if we don't.
Have you gotten any updates on signups or?
4 runners, 2 people in the car. But, and 3
Let's-
more, Arlene and.
We'll get them.
Let's hope they.
We got to do one at a time.
Last year it was all like the last 48 hours. I know.
So, and we'll throw up those ones. The thing is, I mean, the recruitment for the running isn't from our students. That's the big difference for us. The runners don't come from our student base. But yes, not forgotten, not playing favorites. We got those, and we're trying to get 150 kids to come to the dance for Just Dance only tickets. That's our push. 7 o'clock, if you.
Okay. We need to get a sign-in sheet going around. Oh, sweet. Okay, good.
Sign-up sheet is in the back already.
Sweet. I just want to see if in the last minute people come in. Okay. Awesome. Okay, let's. We got a lot to cover today. April's a very busy month, so let's go and get started. Let's go ahead and get a motion to start the meeting. And second. You could state your names to the fill-in secretary real quick. That would be good.
So.
Motions.
And we'll go right away to the treasurer's report.
Oh, yay. Money, money, money. All right, treasury report for 4/8/24. The cash, first we'll do the cash flow. The beginning bank balance at the beginning of March was $40,436.84. We had $9,061 in deposits, $12,764 in withdrawals, leaving our ending bank balance at $36,734. We have $0 in outstanding deposits, outstanding withdrawals for March are $583, less the spring trip pass-through of $263.78, plus our cash box balance of $136 and our PayPal balance of $1,000, leaves us with a total cash balance on February, wow, I didn't update that. March 31st of '24 being $37,287. As of last night, we have spent $83,234 of our $105,887 budget, leaving us with $22,653 or 21.6% of the budget remaining. We're currently within our expense budget in all areas with the exception of the competition budget that is over by $107. Marching band dues, we have received $36,121 of the $54,073 goal, leaving us with $17,953 or 33.2% to collect. On concert and jazz band dues, we've received $645 out of the $3,245 goal, leaving us with $2,599 or 80.1% to collect. On the fundraising side, our gross revenue for fundraising is currently $60,689. Our expenses are $23,133, leaving us with a net profit of $37,556. To date, we have raised 86.73% of our $43,302 net profit goal.
Okay.
Of course, net profit does not mean revenue. It's revenue minus your expenses. So we have to make a whole lot more than that to get to the net profit. So if we look at fundraising versus budget, we still have $22,652 in our budget. We still need to collect $20,551 in dues. We're at a spot where our next fundraising events need to be successful, and we need to collect the rest of the dues. If we look at where we're at, this may scare you a little bit or motivate you. Out of the $37,287 cash balance, $18,000 is designated outside of the budget in case of unforeseen issues. We have $15,000 to be kept in reserves in case we have a bad year or another, hopefully never, COVID times again, and $3,000 is set for scholarships. We also have spent $19,000 in April, leaving our current cash balance about $18,000. Less the amount set for reserves and scholarships, we have $95. This means we have a remaining budget of $22,652, but only $95 designated to that budget. As such, I repeat, the success of the next fundraisers, Hawk Run, Car Show, and Jazz Dinner are extremely important. Please make sure that you're helping to advertise so that we have the participants necessary to be successful. And that is the treasurer report. And Clee.
Thank you, Jason.
Okay. I don't know why we do this, but motion to approve the budget. Janice, and second? Concy. Okay, thank you.
I'll do it.
And then
Yeah.
going to director's updates.
Okay. A lot of times and things. I'm going to start with the thing that is closest, and that, well, there's several that are closest, but the one that feels like it doesn't have anything right now is because it does not. The color guard competition on Saturday, it was mistakenly they left someone out. The competition, the anticipated time is for 12:30 performance time. It actually works out very well in our flow of our day that there won't be any conflicting. It'll just be jumping from place to place. Even with some time in between, people who are doing both the color guard and the performance in the evening have plenty of time to go home. Everybody who is doing the solo and ensemble in the morning will have enough time to go to the color guard competition and be part of awards and be able to see solo and ensembles, which one of our students is playing in, for color guard. All that means it actually works out pretty well. We are waiting for the definitive time of what the color guard contest is going to start at, and we just haven't received it yet. We anticipate we were at 12:40. It should push us back exactly 10 minutes unless something wild happens. So that's a 95%. 12:30. I just haven't made the schedule since it's not actually confirmed. That's thing number one. Thing number two, I think very important and actually more pertinent to the students. Maybe you guys aren't very much aware of it. It's our third annual solo contest this year, pushed a little bit later out of necessity, and that was going to be the preliminaries were going to be on Wednesday of this week. Coming off of spring break and also not wanting the students to misunderstand priorities for what what I and the directors expect them to do. With state as well as solo and ensemble and a bunch of other things in between, the first round preliminaries has been moved to 2 weeks from today. So there's nothing on this Wednesday. There are 2 weeks. It will be April 22nd. So that's the day that they will stay on a Monday. It's the only Monday really thus far that the students will stay after school. This is winds and percussion only. This is no color guard. And they will perform their a 7-minute portion of their solo between the hours of about 4 and 6:30. I get guest judges. We come in, separate in the rooms. A reminder to those who have already been through it, and an introduction to those of you who have not. There are 3 steps to the solo contest. That preliminaries is every student in the band program. That is part of their exam grade for the year. It's used like a midterm, even though it's just a little bit later. These semifinals, we advance 2 to 3 of the outstanding musicians on each instrument to perform in a semifinals, which is on April 24th, a couple days later. Again, wanted that after state rather than before so that the kids aren't having conflicting interests. We then have a nice 2-week period where the students and either 4 to 7 finalists are chosen to perform on May 4th. The caveat, I did not make it clear in the past, and that's my fault. The required performances in attendance are April 22nd, the preliminaries, that's part of their grade, and May 4th. That is an attendance to the concert of their peers, as well as a guest artist who is Dr. Kelly from UNM. The saxophone professor is our guest artist this year. So we pay for that guest artist. That's one of the performances they come to and we support as the band boosters, and the preliminaries. The semifinals is not required. It is only those people who are selected and have advanced on. So that distinction, I think a lot of students, after they got their grade out of the way, they forgot that they have to show up at the very end to cheer on their peers, as well as see the educational performance of the professor. So, yes?
So what is the solo ensemble Saturday for?
So we'll get there. We'll get there. And this is quite literally the distinction. So what I just described is the Volcano Vista Solo Contest. A separate, our own organization thing where we have 3 rounds and we do all this stuff. District 7 Solo and Ensemble is district run. It is not by me. It's run by the District 7 band directors, president, vice president. We have our whole organization. That is this Saturday morning. I have not. Students can always participate on their own. We have about 7 students who are participating on their own in that. They register on their own. It's a $5 fee. They go in front of a judge. They have 7 minutes in a room. They play. They can get a distinction as a Division 1, 2, 3. It's the individual version of MPA. Okay, and that's why we do solo contests. As to, I have every single student do it, and there's no fees required. That's exactly why I have them separated. This year, I want to encourage more people to do that recognition. It is the part of a long process in order to showcase what our students are doing. And on one of the check boxes on a national checklist, there's a SUSO award that eventually I want to apply for, and what it requires is for students to be participating in all aspects, one of them being the district-sponsored and solo ensemble. Okay, that's that. We are starting that, and I want to encourage people, by all wind players and percussion players have an ensemble that they play, so it's single performance, takes about 7 minutes long, and so every wind and percussion player at Albuquerque High on this Saturday have an assigned time. Almost every single group is assigned either 9:45, 9:52, or 10 o'clock. It's right in the very, very morning. That is a different event. It is only ensembles, and only is your child required to play by themselves if they chose to. That's a fully elective process, but reflects positively on our program and gets the students better feedback, or just different feedback. I'll take a moment. It's a really big one. They sound very similar. Solo contest is an actual competition. District solo and ensemble is mini MPA for individuals. So that's how we can think about it. Good, awesome. Yes.
Can I get those times again
For
district?
I'll give you specific ones. Those were generic, but that's about when it is. The students don't even know yet. I got them today at lunch. Yeah, so I'll have those for everybody. I just got them today. And if you want to know right now, I have the spreadsheet. I can bring that up. Okay, solo contests, solo and ensemble, separate. Guard competition, clear that, middle of the day. The next contest for us is the state band contest. That time has changed. I don't know if anybody checks the calendar often, but that performance is at 3:30. That performance change actually happens due to how people qualify or don't qualify. There were some bands that did not qualify for state this year, making the pool smaller, changing the times of performance. So we still perform last, but we perform at 3:30.
The calendar still said 4:30. So.
Cool, and I'll adjust that.
And that's still at Cleveland?
That's still at Cleveland High School, and so that has been moved to 3:30 p.m.
So there'll just be less watching of other bands?
Without going too much into it, it may change our entire schedule. I may not watch as many bands because of how it pushes the schedule and how I want the students to feel comfortable during the day. I got the schedule on Saturday, so I just haven't quite thought through that one. It won't change anything about their performance. It'll literally only change when they leave school and when they get to Cleveland. I asked a couple students today if they liked how we did MPA with a practice beforehand that was casual and strong, and they felt that it helped improve their confidence in their performance. I've been debating whether or not to do something very similar, actually a fourth period performance or a fifth period performance on that day during that time. So that's just floating up in my brain as of right now. It doesn't affect anybody in here. Just know that we might, it affects, I think the only person would be Janice, so that we can talk about mealtime. But I anticipate our meal being after regardless. So we won't do anything during the day. It would also potentially affect chaperones, but with only a single bus, I would only need one if there's a single chaperone who would like to go. Cool. All right.
So Angie already coordinated that with Angie and me.
Okay. Did you? Perfect.
I mean,
I hadn't heard from Angie, so that's why I made the statement. But if it's already taken care of, that's perfect. You are welcome to come as well. Yeah. Okay. Solo ensemble, solo contest, state band contest. A lot of information. Anything I can help anybody with?
You
Check in the chat.
you wanted to say something about the jazz dinner dance as well?
Oh, yeah. I'm just pausing for a moment. Good. Okay. Moving on to fundraisers. Jazz dinner dance. So is the ending of that of our wild day, and it won't feel as wild. I think we'll get more in the committee. I'll let you talk about what your plan is for that day, Janice. But we are ready and set. I think the students are prepared. We have our final advertising for the in-house. Basically, we're advertising it as a partially freshman sophomore prom. Like, hey, get out there. Dante's getting on the announcements and speaking every single day. Did you want to talk about the potential ad of the meal, or can I bring that up now? We're talking with Janice, so we closed that meal window, and with putting in the order, I think the sentiment was there still may be some people who missed the meal option, and so we were thinking of having a very specific number of over dinners that they're preparing, like 15, and then we just sell those through the week. And really, we only have to.
we just have to monitor it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I have to communicate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Monitoring it's a little hard.
Okay,
right, to limit it to 15 if it's wide open for anybody to go purchase. So
gotcha.
we'll report in some numbers, and we're gonna have to try and keep a better watch. We're just hard because I know you're working.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
If the, if,
It's okay for now.
if there's any way of doing it as like a quantity as a stock item, maybe that's possible. But
And it may be something like, one thing I thought of was we just purchase 10 or 15 more,
yeah,
and then close it, and then as if someone
yeah,
is interested, then we can,
yeah. So,
I
m-
don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just throwing out ideas, it's not anything
of course.
complicated.
My portion of it is just to say and ask, is there anybody who knows someone who really wanted the dinner and maybe missed it in the past couple days? Does that happen to be any hands? Okay, I asked the students to ask their teachers today. Maybe we don't. If there's not an effective way to do it, then we won't. But the idea is that if there's a couple more people that maybe missed out on that. So we have all our advertising, going to throw up all that stuff. In addition to, I think the big thing that I've been pitching to the kids for that their peers can do, right, is that car show portion with people who have vehicles and stuff. If there is anything that we can do additionally for race advertising that has helped in the past, I would like that to be something that we talk about later. I'm not quite sure if it was the kids' push or not. Right, I mean, because I've asked them the past 2 years, and it doesn't really seem that they're affecting in that positive way. So I want to figure that one out. So we're looking at those three things kind of happening in the next couple weeks. I'll let the committees talk about those when we get there. That is all I have for the director's update.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, busy month, and that's all the stuff that's going on with band and the kids and all that good stuff. Very exciting times. Defending a state championship is a very fun, awesome thing. But this is also the month where we have to, as a board, prepare to transition. So the way this schedule needs to work is, right now, starting at this meeting, we need to start planning and thinking and hopefully deciding whether or not, if you currently hold a board position and still want to continue that board position, that you'll be ready to nominate yourself or be nominated at our next meeting, or if you are deciding to jump in for the first time and jump on the board, to do that as well. The absolute must, what we absolutely must do is by the next meeting, at a minimum, elect a new executive board. Those 4 positions, president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary, those have to be in place for the transition in June, or else organization isn't valid. And so those have to be in place. What's complicating that is that our bylaws have term limits on those positions. So even though 3 of the 4 members of the current executive board might be willing to continue with that, we can't, unless we change the bylaws. So this next part of the meeting, I'd like to just open up for discussion, because I know over emails amongst the board, there's kind of some banter back and forth about what we should do there. We can propose and vote in an amendment to our bylaws to alter the term limits for executive board members. Or we could just not and let the system run as it was designed. We will likely still publish and vote on a change to the bylaws to add the position of co-treasurer officially, and grant it the powers to handle the finances so that they can actually go to the bank beyond a bank account, make withdrawals and deposits. But whether or not we add this second amendment to the bylaws is up for debate. What do you think? And what should it be? Some things, the proposals that were tossed around were eliminating the term limits, extending them by 1 year, extending them by 2 years, or other.
A clause to extend them if and only if there is nobody to fill it. So that's different than just extending.
Yeah. But the limits are there for a reason, to make sure that, we have a diversity in the board over the years.
Well, I also would like to say, I mean, because I have a copy of the bylaws, I printed off and I reviewed them, because if we're gonna make amendments and changes, that we should do all of what needs to be amended and changed, because the last time it looks like this was reviewed was 2015.
Okay. So, yeah.
Some things don't match, you know, like you have board positions that don't match what reads in here, what's on the internet, and so I feel like all of that needs to be, like, let's streamline it and let's do it all at once and get it done.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can definitely make some other things. I think some more of those are, like adding the official other board positions. I think, not sure like that invalidates our, yeah.
You know, I was talking to a few
Yeah.
people, like, I mean, there's
Totally.
been growth, obviously, you know, there's, things have evolved, things have grown, and so, just so that everything matches, so that also has in there, like, you know, this will be reviewed and updated and signed, you know, every year, or whatever, that type of thing.
Yeah, we can definitely improve. We can do some of those things. But the immediate need, right, is to figure out what we're going to do about those positions. So that's whether or not we want to fundamentally change the bylaws is a completely separate decision from just also addressing what the transition board is going to be. Because it just so happens that this year that we have executive board members that may want to continue on the executive board, right? It just takes a tweak of circumstances, and it's not, and we're in a position where we have to elect an entire new executive board. So,
Well, and a consideration to keep in mind is succession planning.
right.
So that we don't have people leave and the new person comes in without training. So we should be thinking about how do we create the process that we have involvement and we don't put a president in there that's never done it, never seen it, never understood it. And it just doesn't mean that president can't succeed. It just makes it very difficult to continue to build and grow as an organization if we don't have at least some succession planning, somebody who's being, what's
Or
the
like
word
the
for
co-person, like a co-position, or.
it? Right, somebody who's being groomed, so to speak. Groom's a bad term in today's world, but trained.
A lot of them, a lot of organizations have a president-elect that works side by side with the president.
Yeah.
Even could be like, if the president's 2 years, that person is working 2 years, and then they do the next 2 years.
Yeah. And there was some talk earlier before the official meeting of spelling that out in the bylaws, that the role of vice president essentially is that of president in waiting. Having that, try to recruit to that position a member from an underclassman parent would be more ideal in that circumstance, and try to maybe affect that this year as the first year. But, right, any of these changes, any kind of these tweaks, obviously don't need to happen if we have enough people who just say, NASCAR can do your job, and I'd be excited about that, and we could work together on have somebody else being president, but we just need sort of those hands to get raised. Then we just won't need any bylaw changes other than cleanups and the addition of the co-treasurer position. So just to list the positions that will be open, officially open. President, vice president, treasurer, secretary, all 4 elements of the executive board. But in addition to that, we will have open positions for chaperone, props, and freshman liaison. So there will be 7 open, as far as I know, board positions, because I don't know if everybody who's in, I was guessing some of the other ones, whether or not members who are on the fundraising committee would like to continue in those roles, whether or not members of the hospitality committee would like to continue in those roles. Webmaster, pit crew, uniforms, and historian are all currently filled by members who have returning students. And so I was just making an assumption, but that assumption might be wrong.
Yeah,
So,
and I think this is something that I brought up, that any sort of continuance, I think we do need to have something in our bylaws that person is elected every year. There's no, we just go through. I know we all raise our hands, but I think that's important for that succession of power or transfer of abilities, that person is nominated every single year, that person is put up for election every single year, so that there's some clarity to kind of how these roles are, and also recognition of this person. You know, they don't have to do it every single year. They have to be nominated, and they have to accept that nomination. I think that nobody should feel forced. I think that it should feel something that it is a choice. And that if you are not nominating yourself, the nomination by someone else maybe is that motivator and saying like, you know what, I didn't know you noticed me. Or it's I have bid my time, rather than just, hey, you're going to do this thing again. So I would like us to move in that direction where it but is more formal. For the organization that you all have created is pretty exceptional. This is nothing close to what it was 2 years ago, and that's only 2 years of parents finding motivation and finding inspiration to be part of this organization. So I think that is the intent behind making some of these decisions. The whole idea of bringing in new blood, right? We use that phrase. I think it's so that the circulation of ideas continues to be fresh. Also that there's continuity and there's new people learning new things. And even if we do the same thing year after year, if it's a different face, that's continuity rather than a dictatorship, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so I think all those elements are important to us still feeling important. So, yes.
I have a question. So has something went out to the band, or did I miss something, like asking for people interested in these positions?
This-
Is that gonna be coming?
Well, I think maybe we didn't say it in so many words. The nominations for next year's Band Boosters is now officially open.
Yeah.
So is that like something that's gonna maybe go out?
Yes.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
everyone Where they can like nominate themselves, or is it
Yeah.
just this
No. It's opening with this, and we'll put out a form as well. And I think we can start with this right now. So we're in-person meeting if there's anybody who would like to. I think we were just sitting on the discussion portion
This
first.
is just stating that now the need is upon us, and we have a month. We will need to vote at the May meeting, and to elect at a minimum the executive board, and have that situation solved. The other positions can be filled later, but we will need that problem.
So to add into that, to piggyback off in terms of communication, according to the current bylaws, if you're planning to make an amendment to the bylaws.
2
it
weeks.
has to be in writing,
Mhm.
and be sent out to everybody.
Exactly. So the proposed text for the bylaw changes, whether or not we accept them or not, we could also just abandon them, will be coming out at the end of this week.
Okay.
I think there should be an end. I don't think anything should be open for that you could be the president forever, or that you could be the
It's-
whatever forever.
It's the next meeting. You have a month.
No, in the bylaws.
Oh, the bylaw. Yeah.
I walked away.
Technically, it never could be unless you plan on, somebody
Yeah.
plans on staying with past their kids are graduating.
Just have a lot of kids.
Well, yeah, like Jason Bushman. There's a way for him to get out and a way for
I'm good with
someone
that.
else to push it. But I still think that
I-
definite term is a good.
I think something, yeah, so definite term. I think something else that we don't necessarily consider right away is swapping positions. I think a lot of people think like when I'm done as a president, that's it. I'm done, I'm out of here, or that we're kicking you out. It's like, I would like to nominate myself for blank, right? Jason says, I'd like to nominate myself for chaperone for next year. But right, so that
That may be dangerous.
just for the understanding that if we do have, I think there's a very big distinction between a term being 3 years and having a 3-term limit. And sometimes that gets muddled. We're saying it's like we've seen people do things for 3 years, so the next person thinks they have to. And that also is very potentially damaging to our recruitment, where they've seen people sit in these roles and they think, I'm gonna get to the end of the first year and they're just gonna want me to do another. And that's not the case. I think that will also bring more revolution into this. So just a piece. I'll step out for a moment.
So my intent is going to be, here shortly, also this week, will come out a document that outlines all the positions. Essentially, effectively, what's actually true is all the positions are open. It's just not whether we have someone in waiting for them or not,
Yeah.
is really the difference there. And the primary purpose for me wanting to create that document was going to be to advertise that ahead of time to incoming freshman parents as well, who aren't represented here very well. But also, it could also be for our current parent body, to understand what's open and not. So look for that plus some proposed bylaw changes in case we need them. We might not need to vote on them. We could just abandon them by the next meeting. So, and unless anybody has any different ideas, I think that the least smallest change to the bylaws makes the most sense to me, of just adding a year to the terms.
To the
Just
allowable
in case we
terms.
need to keep the status quo next year and get our stuff together
I think
for future
maybe
years.
the caveat would be the one we wanna add.
Yeah, unless there's no one else.
If there are no others that step up.
There's no other
then
candidates.
It may be allowed.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's probably
No
what we
other
should-
person that's willing and able.
So the wording would be something, if unopposed, the the incumbent elected position is allowed to do an additional year past their 2-term limit.
Yeah.
Right, I guess is how the words would work out.
Something like that.
Maximum of 3 years.
Right.
To a maximum of 3.
So,
To a maximum.
so,
Okay,
and
do that.
yeah. And so I think this is the beginning of the conversation, right? I think to be clear, I think we're going to vote on this in May, but to start thinking about, okay, what things, I don't think all positions have to be the same. I've brought up and I've wanted to introduce a lot of discussion about what the president, and I'm sorry if we started talking about it without me, but the vice president and president, I think it was intended to be, or we thought it was intended to be, vice president was president in training, take over the next year. When we look at the bylaws, it's not even close. And so making that more clear, we're thinking in any sort of business establishment, when you have a vice president, they're usually the head of something by themselves. And when you have an organization where you have presidents, there's usually, in the really big ones, you have 3. You have the elected, acting, and you have past. I think we would do fine with our numbers right now to have elected and acting. That way the person who is in president, and that would be something to consider. The president is a 2-year role. First year is passive. You just watch. You maybe show up to the meetings. Second year is that active. And I don't know, maybe there are certain roles, like maybe treasurer needs to be longer because that's a more complicated technical position. Right, and so I encourage everybody to think about those things, and in your own roles to say, well, this one needs to be a 5-year. Truly, and a 5-year with a 2-year overlap, right? Something where the last 3 years of the term, it's just, yes, you're allowed to call me or something. Be creative with what you think would help the organization in its best in order to keep things continuous, whatever the word is.
I like that, continuitas. It's a great,
while also encouraging, right, the core of all of this is we want to encourage more people to feel like they can participate. So if somebody feels like they're not going to drop off because, man, I don't know what the president does, but I want to be, don't do it like the students. I don't know what they do, and I wish I had a way of learning without having so much responsibility. And I don't even like phrasing it that way. It's like I want to see what the organization is, and I want to understand it first. So I think that's the big thing, is all of this is to allow more people to participate. That's the end all be all. And that basically a backdoor clause to allow us to succeed if there isn't any interest for whatever reason. I believe that there's more, though. The story just for today is there is a grandparent who is custodial over there going to be senior and their incoming freshman. And the question was, what are the time requirements per week for a position on the boosters, not on the board? And so they had such a lack of knowledge. They're like, well, I only got an hour a week. I was like, well, you can run the thing. you got an hour a week, you know what I mean? And so having that person be like, a board position is for you. And if you want to continue with your freshman, these are these options. And just having them be crystal clear. I think that helps. So.
But I'd like to make a proposal and see what everybody thinks about it. I think that in our May meeting, we should elect the executive board. That's required by bylaws. That has to be in place before the year churns, right? But I would say that we select a meeting after that where we have freshmen involved to be able to fill the board positions. And maybe we need to look at some of them that we say, no, this one has to be in place first. And we probably need at least a second-year parent to do it, right? But I think one of the spots that we're missing is that freshmen come in, everything's already been elected, And so we're 1 year behind getting them involved. And so that's, I would like to say that we just do exec in May,
Mhm.
and then regular board positions, whether it's June, or we usually skip June, I think. I don't know, one of them we skip. Or maybe the July one, after we have freshmen established, that we could bring it in. We could still showcase it with that, whatever concert it is that we do, that brings a freshman in that first time.
The one at the end of band camp?
Well, and maybe that's the one, the meeting right after that, maybe that's the one we do, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say, what are the thoughts on that?
I think that's a great idea, and then also, when, right before the whole COVID thing, they used to have a giant potluck for everybody, and that was a way to kind of bring freshman parents together with the other parents, and you could at least mingle with them and get to know them.
What time?
So you could do a potluck, something early in the summer that brings all the parents together and all the kids, and just a big, like the picnic that you did.
Yeah.
But also have a business element, pass out, here are all the rules, these are the things, and be kind of hobnobbing at that time.
I do have this is a question for me as the director. It's okay. Squeaky toys in the back. As a director, I've tried to give some opportunities for this. One of those opportunities being the what I'm calling now Summer Band 1. It's the 3-day, it's the Thursday, Friday, and then we have a Saturday performance. The intention for that is 100% to invite people in to get them on the board, on board, and potentially in the board. But I don't feel like it's as successful. And I don't know. I'd love input on this. Is it because they're there to watch the kids? Is it because we've had so many performances, we just want to get through the end of the year? Would it be better if it was a separate meeting? If it was hey, this is a parents only. Like, this is a parents only meeting. Don't bring your kid. This is just us. Like, we want to invite you into the parent culture. I wonder, is that better? And then that parent is coming to meet you guys. They're not coming to watch their kid and have to sit next to you. I don't know if that would help or not, but that's something that that's why I do the Summer Band 1.
I think having a parent social outside of school, like I said, and it doesn't have to be everything. Even if we just, I don't recommend a park because you can't really do business in a park.
Yeah.
So barbecue, oh yeah.
Can we?
But what I mean, having something where you have an established agenda of what you need to get done, and it still be, it could be a potluck, it could just be, could be I would participate in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then it's separate, right? That's the adult organization time of year, right? Because that's what we're talking about with to be able to get them in where they can be elected. Is the timing of when I do, so the 3rd week, the 4th week of May, right? If we did it on a weekend close to that performance, is that good or is that bad?
I think it's so convoluted with the end of year stuff and all of the, it's everything.
Okay. Could I see hands?
I got a question, what if you just added to the beginning of band camp? Because we're here. Families are back from traveling, and we'll have the meeting before, and then the performance after.
But by that point, there's a lot that we've already done as a board.
Because you have hospitality that has to.
Yeah. So.
I know,
It-
we were talking about having it after too, so that's why I was like, well.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking like June, right? So, and again, let's keep talking about it, and that's why we try to do it in May before the necessary handing over in June. Yeah.
For everybody else, so, that's stressful in any household.
Yeah.
Kids are stressed, the parents are stressed. I mean, I don't know about the middle school kids,
Yeah.
everybody else was.
I would like to. I don't know if I can. I would like someone to propose this if I'm not allowed to. Someone who has the bylaws. Just something I'm thinking that we need to have something in there that nominations open blank, and freshman parents come in blank. And like we have to have that, because I think really what we wish we had is this being our kind of freshman introductory meeting for like, hey, come and meet us for the first time. That's at least what I feel like. And then they really have to show up in May, because right now, really with what we're set at, the soonest that can come in is June. So something, again, something that maybe there's an amendment for when we have to have certain things done by, that helps us. I don't know.
So
But-
my intent with this communication to the freshman parents that we're gonna develop this week is to invite them to our May meeting.
Yeah. And
So whether or not they come is a completely different
Yeah.
scenario, but.
Do you know if Kellerman is still having booster meetings?
yeah, they do. That's something that I don't know how we can interact. Wait, they're not?
Their last one was last month, I think it was.
Their last one was last month?
As in they dissolved, or they just don't have
No,
them?
it was the last one for the year, I think it was.
Gotcha. So that would be, I mean, that's definitely something to consider, and maybe we can just reach out to that board and be like, can you guys make some communication with your parents?
The bylaws, yeah, it does say nominations for the floor will be taken prior to voting at the May general membership meeting. These candidates who accept nominations will be presented for vote at the spring general membership.
The spring general, and so when is the spring general? That's the main one? Oh, that's the same meeting. Got it. Okay. So, okay. Well, this is good. I think the parent.
Nominations before is like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Could I? I wanted to see a show of hands. Oh shoot! I wanted to see a show of hands for. Amanda, you said the thing. Oh, the parent social. Timeline. I'm just trying to get an idea if I can coordinate it with. Again, I tried to coordinate it with something where they have to be here already. So if that concert's at 12 and then it's like parent social happening at blank, 5 p.m. later that day after you drop your kid off, is that something that works?
It's after graduation.
It'll be, yeah. So this would happen the 23rd and 24th and 25th of May. It's the very last week of school intentionally.
Don't kill me, but I have an idea.
Right. Well, that's the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I mean, that's when we have to have our camp regardless. Yes.
Why not move our Monday meeting to Sunday evening and do the social that day and voting and everything that evening? Potluck, social, parent meeting, plus voting.
So 2 meetings in May?
No, one, it's all collective, one meeting, but move it to Sunday rather than Monday
So we're
night.
meeting
That's our
with
band
the
banquet.
parents.
The Sunday is our band banquet.
Was the
Well, the
No, sorry, Saturday. That Saturday will be our
hold-
band
hold-
banquet. And we'll have Sunday be the meeting. No, wait.
Yeah,
I'm
hold on.
looking- no,
Yeah,
wrong calendar, wrong
we're
calendar, sorry.
getting. Hold on. These are 2 separate things
Sorry.
because we don't have
I'm
the
wrong.
parents here yet, so we can't combine those 2 things. There's a May. I mean, we won't get them this year. They've never seen us before.
Yeah, so we would invite them.
So, but what I'm saying is you need even more than that. So we need our general like meeting, and there needs to be a special secondary meeting where it's just the social. Combining those 2 things is very unlikely to work.
Maybe
Yeah.
they're different, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that one would work. I just because we're gonna have this other one, and that's what I'm saying, is that I have this other opportunity. Is that whether or not it's before or after that opportunity? Yes, Jackie.
Like this idea, what if we have the middle school, like, band council event somewhere in that week, whenever you run out of day, so the parents are here with the kids, and they can be introduced, yeah. It's
Yeah.
usually like Thursday or Fridays,
Yep.
and that tends to work out for people,
Yep.
but
Yeah, and please, I mean, open conversation. If we want to have it, if we want to combine those events, I don't agree. But if you guys do, I mean, let me know.
Do we even know how many freshmen are coming from the middle schools?
Yeah, I have schedules and I know who they should be already.
But how many kids are coming in?
There's like 13 or 15.
So getting 13 or 15 parents here might not be that hard as compared to maybe the following where there's 35.
That's fair. That's fair.
So maybe reaching out to those 15 and saying, hey,
And that's what I mean, we already, in a sense, know who we're getting, we know who
Yeah.
our parents are, or we can get the band directors to contact those ones that are coming and send the invitation. If they come, if they don't, but at least they're invited. That way back to our general
yeah.
board.
Could we have just an official show of hands, so people who would like to, unofficial, just people who would be comfortable with moving that May 6th meeting to Cinco de Mayo, just as a move and inviting our parents.
Moving it to Sunday.
Yeah. So the purpose is so that it is a social event. It is a social event band meeting where you guys are able to meet each other. I think the thing is that I was expecting that you guys wanted to separate the business and the pleasure, where there's an event where you meet each other, and I think that that's important, where you guys just meet each other and you can talk about it and there's no meeting.
I agree, we're probably seeing a lot of business still going on for May, talking about banquet, that's the big one, banquet.
Right. That
And what was wrong with what, Monica proposed about coming, they're already coming those 3 days, why can't we, like, carve out, like, some of the time?
No, we had two different ones. Monica's is band camp. Well, I'll call them Summer Band 1 and Summer Band 2.
No, she was talking the first one.
She said July. She said July.
She was?
Correct.
Oh, then do the first one, band camp one, whatever that is.
Yeah, Summer Band 1. That's why I asked you guys a show of hands of would you show up more, because people are showing up to that but not asking. They're not asking questions. I don't have the participation. That's the whole intention I did with Summer Band 1. We perform the show and there's some investment for the parents, but it's not getting the turnout that I was hoping. It's supposed to naturally do that, but now we're at a point where I have to ask, is it because it's the same day as a performance? Are we performed out? Or is it because your kids are present and they don't feel comfortable because they want to get home? Hence, having a social time where they literally just get to meet you guys, we can recruit, they can talk about things, there can be an agenda, but it's not band related. It's hey, we wanted to let you guys know about this, this, and this. Hear from our president, he's going to tell you about our Durango trip. Hear from our vice president, this is some of the fun stuff.
Could we do on the end of performance of Summer Band 1,
Will be the 25th.
we just have, we don't take a ton of the time, we take 15 minutes before the kids perform to say, hey, here's what this is about, let me introduce you to the Volcano Vista Hawk Band
But that's what we
Booster
do.
organization.
That's already what we do.
And then after kids' performance, there's gonna be a social event immediately afterward, where if you have questions, just come get some snacks, hang out.
But that's what we said already.
Yeah.
We literally did that last year. This is exactly what we did
I
last
don't
year.
think we did a very good job.
Well, that
Didn't do the social part, yeah.
we invited people to stay around and talk to our boosters. That's what I'm saying is we need to be very deliberate with this because our
Yeah.
being passive about it did not invite any interest.
So now let's make it there's food, there's excitement,
It has
there's,
to be a mandatory meeting by gathering the contacts from the band directors from the schools that are incoming and have them come to that meeting and we do a potluck, us here that we know are present, and we post it to them and we educate them that same day.
yeah.
If you add food to any event, in a museum,
Yeah.
they will come.
They will come,
Look
yeah.
at the crap ton of people that we had that
Yeah.
we had never
Seen.
seen all year long.
Those were
Right.
just band parents.
And those
Yeah.
were all band parents that we have never seen.
Okay,
If you add food to any meeting, you're gonna get the attendance.
let's,
I think it had its timing, really, Mr. D,
Yeah.
like May is busy and then Memorial Weekend. I
Yeah.
think that's just gonna, you're just naturally gonna have people out of town.
Right. And that's why I'm asking.
They don't really have many options.
Right. That's where it is. And so again, that's why I asked. Is it separated social? That's a completely different day. Are people burnt out from being there already? And if I require something else, that's why I asked. That's why I want to know if we utilize it how it's meant to be, they're already in the door and we say, hey, everybody, in 2 hours, take your kids home, put them to sleep, whatever, and show up at blank place at 5 o'clock. No kids allowed, mandatory meeting.
They're not gonna come back.
Yeah.
They won't come
But
back.
that's what I'm saying.
But if you do it immediately after and make some kind of fun arrangements for the kids to kind of be away.
Right.
They can go play in the field. I mean,
Well, that's where, no, but that's where we pull into what Jackie was saying. That's what we do is we separate, and after that performance, we do a separation where it's a fun time for the kids and they go and socialize, and we keep the parents. That's how it's intended to be.
Carla's got an idea.
Okay, why can't we do it like in the morning and have coffee and donuts and do it like a morning
And
thing,
I-
because they're gonna be out there marching and stuff, like doing stuff.
Yeah.
The kids are out, parents can be there, whoever can show up, can be in here and, you know, do it the whole morning.
We can do it before. That is the option. So because I will have to, I just looked at it. Tony Hillerman, and again, it's never great. Tony Hillerman has their concert that day, the day before, on the 23rd. And so Friday will be like an after school, like we hang. Like I'll have to have a morning Saturday rehearsal for us to have a performance at some point that day, or I move it until after that week.
There was a comment on that side.
Coffee, donut, parents could be talking while the kids are playing.
Bring some Kahlua and Bailey's.
You're on school grounds.
Yep. Comment over here, yes.
What time is the performance gonna be for the 25th?
It's dependent on what we decide with this.
Did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was just gonna clarify what Jackie was saying, because it sounded like people were misunderstanding. She was just saying, on eighth grade night, the kids are already here, so the parents have to drop them off.
Yeah.
She was saying, have the adult at the same time, so no one has to come or go.
Yeah.
They're just separated. And
Yeah.
I think it was getting.
Yeah, and to clarify, the only reason why I didn't jump onto that is that's another event. And so I'm trying to keep the number of events lower. Yeah, and because our band events right now aren't 8th grade events, just so you realize, it was, our last event was good, but it was 70% 7th graders. So just to consider, your idea is perfectly right, just right now we don't have the numbers to do that.
Yeah, I was just trying to see, because if we are gonna do this, parent and, band thing together, because I was talking with, band council, and they said, no band event for April because it's so busy.
Correct.
And we were thinking about doing something in May, but I haven't scheduled anything yet, so I just wanted to,
Let-
make sure.
We can tie it together with this day so that it could be parent meeting with coffee, or we have the band event afterwards where the kids are going to stay anyway, and we do it. And I think that flexibility, we get our events, and we have a lot of options for what we feel best with these parents. And since it's such a few amount, we can go with the majority. If 12 of the 15 are like, please give me a morning thing, they do it while we're practicing marching. And if 12 of the 15 says, please, after the concert. But this is good. This is great. This is great conversation,
So
everyone.
we'll have to make a decision on that. I think the majority of the comments are saying, let's have it be something in summer camp 1 and not at our meeting early in May. So we can finalize our plans for that at that meeting. Does that sound good? And we can, let's just email, if you're not on the board, email me and I'll spread your message to the board, to the parent body. We can keep these conversations rolling for another month. Just so we can keep the meeting on track. I only have 3 more agenda items, checking in with the committees, and then I wanted to check in to see, I think we started the ball in motion for the trailer wrap, but I don't know if that lost momentum or whatever, so I just wanted to check in on that real quick though. But starting with, do we need anything? How's it going? We have a week to go. Last minute emergencies. Yeah. Hair on fire. What do you need? Are we okay?
Things are looking good for Saturday. We have, Mr. B said we have access to the gym. I know there's other events going on, so the plan is to try and drop off and get things into the gym, even if it's set off to the side, because it's open, and then show up about 3:30 after the orchestra performs and start setting up, and putting things in place. What I don't have is we have, 2 parents signed up on our Sign Up Genius to help. I have people who have told me they're happy to help, and so, but no one's actually signing up. And so if you prefer to tell me that you want help, I'm good with that. Just, I'll find you a spot. I'm trying, what I'm trying not to do is there are parents who are parents of jazz students who come to dinner and watch the event. I don't wanna put them to work during a time when they wanna be sitting. So
Right.
if they're available to help, and they can help before, after, in some other way, then it's easier for them to sign up on the Sign Up Genius. Cause I don't know who's a jazz parent, who's not a jazz parent. So I don't wanna put somebody in a bad place. Students, we have 8 signed up. And so, I know Mr. B made an announcement to them today, and we've got 3 more, so.
Okay, so we need another push for those volunteers. Okay.
What was that for, Janice?
Well, the students signed up for helping on Saturday. We have 8, signed up through the Sign Up Genius.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I made the concert band do it, and so those are probably your 8, and then I'll make everybody else do it tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine. I would just.
But we still need to push for the parent volunteers, the non-jazz band parent volunteers.
Okay.
I will cajole.
Really quickly, if I may, I have to jump in. So I have a NMAA state a marching band contest meeting in 3 minutes. Is there anything left that you guys need from me that I should be involved in, or that you want my opinion on, or you want to yell at me about? All is open.
I need a list of the emails that you obtained through the telecom. The fan pledge.
The fan pledge.
If you could obtain that and forward that to me.
Let me.
It's not advertisement for us.
Yes.
And then the other thing was, are you having the kids play the national anthem for the start of the race?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Yes, do you want us to get a singer?
No. Whole band's here. They're doing the whole thing, and they'll do exactly what they have in the past. They'll split up, and some will, if they need. I don't think the car show needs monitoring, but
We're gonna have a sign up that comes out here shortly.
awesome.
So some hands over here.
Is somebody planning the band banquet?
We have the senior experience committee. Who is that?
Senior experience? Yeah.
That's
I didn't sign up as lead, but, I haven't seen anything, so I'll touch base with her and see.
Yeah, who was it again? Sorry.
Jeanette?
Oh, right.
I mean, after jazz dinner, I'm
Yeah.
happy to jump in and help.
Yeah. She's just not here. She might be online. Jeanette, if you're online, let us know if you need any help with the banquet, and that'll become more urgent
Yeah.
as we get closer to it.
And then the second part, I know the senior or the students run it too, right? So as far as the slideshow, that is something the students do.
correct.
They are aware of it, because I know I am not doing it.
Yeah, they're going through it. The one thing I do want to I want to put in the bylaws when we clean it up is that it has to go through you at least a week before they show it, because they had it all out of order last year. It drove me nuts. So you're the second to last, and then I do final cut approval. Yeah, but they're actually working on it. They just sent one today. They said, "Can this be in the slideshow?"
What pictures do they have? Right, but can we also make sure they have access to Shutterfly so they can grab it?
Yeah.
Just so they know.
Yeah, and we'll push them as we get closer. We'll push them.
Because the way it's been in the past is like one student like does their section and it's like only that one section that showcases, so to make sure everybody's included, they get on where Monica is taking everybody. This way it's not.
Yeah, and a small section is good too. I know all other organizations do that.
Anything else?
No. Yeah. I think
Love
we're
it.
good.
You all
We're
are
just
so
gonna-
wonderful, thoughtful, creative, and amazing.
Rates committee, do you guys need anything from the parent body?
The biggest thing we need from the parent body is advertisement. Like, you, please help us push. If it's whatever social media you have, I mean, we've pushed out to, different Facebook pages, Instagram pages, the Nextdoor app. Like, we're pushing on social media big time. We're visiting a lot of businesses, and we're getting a lot of views,
but no registrations. So that's we're nervous about that. The car show, however, I've learned from my husband that we will have a lot showing up day of wanting to pay.
Okay.
So we won't have a true number. Hopefully if we get enough to go, sorry, we're sold out, we have to turn people away. Or if we don't have the runners, then we have that extra space to do more cars.
So if you are a member of a gym, ask them if you could post the, put the poster up at your gym, take it to your work, those kinds of things. That's what we need support in the most, okay? All right.
Yes, the race is here, and the car show is here.
And then,
That's for pre-registration.
Has that been sent out?
the poster, I believe it was. I can send it again, though.
I see it a lot.
Okay.
Where does it say Tinkerton? They have one more run, right?
No.
No?
Was there one on the calendar?
Oh, it did. It's not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's-
Maybe it was on the previous date one.
Um,
I don't
and then
know.
the last thing, I know we started the process of talking about, because it's in the budget this year for the trailer wrap. I think, set that reminder out, like,
So we've
last
got,
time.
we've got the contact. I think it's probably one, and I need to get together and meet up with that contact.
is it just a matter of scheduling it and
It's a
moving it?
matter of scheduling and figuring it out, getting it scheduled. Now,
Okay.
exactly what it's gonna look like,
We have to contract, but we have to commit, and then they'll design. it,
right,
and
they'll
then-
design it at that point. so.
Okay.
But we already said we wanted an ombre from the top to the back of dark to light, and then they already have
They've got some
what
ideas,
he
right?
wants, and then they'll just design to what.
So we just have to sign the contract, basically, for that? Is that the last step? Okay. Is that,
And lose money. I mean, spend money.
yeah, do we need anything? Do we need, so that's in motion? We don't have to worry
So,
about that?
Well, as far as, it's stopped where it was at the end of last year.
Oh, okay.
We just need to re-engage, get the artwork, get the approvals, pay the money,
Okay.
and get it done, so.
Um,
Juan and I'll get together
okay,
and then we'll engage you.
sounds good.
And you'd send out the email with the contact, I believe, as well.
Yeah, I sent it to all the board
Yes.
members.
Yeah, so I've got that. So,
Excellent. All right, I have a lot of to-dos. There's no other agenda items. Does anybody have any questions?
What was our new business section? Because I have a couple of questions that I don't know where to add, and it's not for discussion tonight, but I think it needs to be discussed somehow, whether it's on a committee or through the summer, in the terms of like growth, right? You know, I mean, I'm a freshman parent, so things look very different to freshman parents, I think, than to you guys who have like built this foundation really ground through COVID and that whole drill. But I've talked with a couple of people, I've talked with Mr. V as well. I think we need to come up with a good plan of like improving communication. I know that we've tried to create how many group texts to try to get everybody in, and it's like, we're learning, we're like, ask the kids, how do we fix it, right? You know, it's like, Android doesn't work, or whatever, right? It's like, and I think that if you over communicate, it's just as bad as if you're under communicating. And so, I mean, I don't know the answer. I think we need to pick the brains of like our tech people who are, you know, really, really good comms people, or even some of our students. And I don't know if we need a work group or a planning group to have a way so all the parents can. My kid does not tell me what's on bandwidth, okay? That's part
Yeah.
of what's going on. But just because, you know, when you come in, it's like, my goodness, you're like trying to find, you know, the top of everything. And thank goodness everybody's been generous and, oh, you can ask me, whatever, but it's like, I think we can figure it out. Between all of us, somehow we can figure it out, right? And make it better. So.
Well, I mean, that was the intent of the Stack app, and we started using it, and then it fell off, and nobody was putting stuff on it. So,
Well, during March's season, we have a lot going on. I guess during the spring, we have kind of like, I don't know, there's not a lot to like write about. I don't know.
right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's something that maybe Anthony could help us with, since he's updating the calendar anyway, is to just jump on Stack. And I know it's duplicating, but for parents, it's easier sometimes to get on the app and look at it and sync it with your calendar. Like, I don't know.
So this is something I'd really like the new secretary to have a mandate to do,
Okay.
is to improve communication.
Well, Well, and I think that should be who it should
Right,
come
that's who
from.
it should come
I
from.
was gonna nominate myself for that position. If you're passionate about it, because the other roles, the other duties, yeah.
Nominate Carla as secretary.
Secretary, because sometimes, somebody can't make it, like, example.
Yeah, so for the issue, for like taking the meeting minutes, that's, right now, that's essentially the entire role. And just being on the executive board, I think that role can expand to be like, we need a chief communications person. And I think that should be the role of secretary, and if somebody's passionate about that, because right now it's distributed. I do some communication, V does some communication, the committees amongst themselves do their own communication, so it's kind of fragmented. So if there was a better, like I said, like,
Point of contact.
yeah, then I think that would be good. And so think about it. If you want to champion that, that would be amazing. And we'd love to have you. So. Okay, I think we're already a little bit past, so if there are any lingering issues, I'll hang out for a little while and we can add them to the agenda for the next meeting. And with that, I will ask for a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to close. Second.
And there you go. Thank you very much.
Adjourned.
Meeting is adjourned, yes.
Do the gavel.
Close the live streaming. There we go.